All right, let's do it. Get ready, because we're diving deep into the life and times of Al Pacino. I think everybody knows him from all those great iconic roles, but we're going beyond that, beyond those characters, into the real life drama and the wisdom that he's gained, from his life. And we'll be using excerpts from his autobiography as our guide.
Yeah. We're talking, real life drama, fame, fortune, and the kind of stuff that you can't learn unless you live it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not starting at the beginning. We're not going to start with a young rising star. We're going to pick up with Pacino at 60.
Yeah.
60 years old, welcoming twins into the world.
Yeah.
And navigating, fatherhood and life in L.A. with Beverly D'Angelo.
Imagine that. I can't even imagine.
Quintessential New Yorker.
Yeah.
And he's moving to L.A. He even says his psychiatrist told him not to.
Oh, wow.
Not a good idea.
Right.
But he did it anyway.
He did it. So it wasn't just, the city itself that was a change, right?
Yeah.
He talks about feeling like a fish out of water in the LA social scene. Yeah. He even got lost trying to find his way home. Imagine that. Al Pacino getting lost.
I mean, L.A. is sprawling. It's like, I've been to L.A. It's a lot to take in.
Right.
But for him to feel that way, this New York guy, it's got to be pretty disorienting.
Right. It just goes to show you that no matter who you are, stepping outside your comfort zone can be pretty jarring.
Especially later in life.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if maybe that New York grit helped him adapt, helped him eventually find his footing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes you think, right, how much do our roots shape our experiences even when we reach those heights?
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I'd love to pick his brain about that.
Speaking of fame, Pacino doesn't hold back on what it's like behind the scenes in Hollywood. I mean, it's not all glitz and glamour, is it?
Not exactly.
Yeah. He describes this world where, everything is about appearances and parties are over by 10 p.m. because everybody's afraid of being caught doing something, saying something, anything that might be a career killer. He's at a party with Harold Becker, the director, and it's 10 p.m. and everyone's gone. And Becker explains to him it's all about, self-preservation. It's all about career survival.
Wow.
Can't get caught slipping.
That's intense.
Right.
Yeah.
And, he talks about this actress, a well-known actress who's just sobbing at a party because she thinks she said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and it just makes you think about that pressure cooker of fame and what it takes to actually navigate that, constantly being on.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like you don't realize it until you hear stories like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that constant pressure to perform. And, just when you think things can't get crazier, this is where we get into the financial roller coaster. I mean, Pacino was known to be incredibly generous, but he also admits that his approach to money was, I guess you could say, incredibly casual.
Yeah. He describes it like winning at Monopoly.
Oh, wow.
Like it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real money.
So there's stories of him like giving away money, like, $65,000 to a fellow actor's family.
Just like that.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And then private jets, luxurious hotels, you name it.
It's interesting, though, how quickly wealth, especially when it comes like that, can just, really distort your perception. It's that psychology of affluence gets you. And then, of course, the big reveal, he finds out he's basically broke.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Swindled. By his own accountant. And he talks about this moment with the accountant's minion, right? And there's this little look, this change in expression, and it dawns on him the magnitude of the situation.
It's almost like a movie. That moment where you realize you've been had. And it's like, how can someone so smart, right? Yeah. So astute on screen.
Right.
Be so naive.
It's a good reminder that, even if you're brilliant in one area, it doesn't mean you're immune to bad advice. And it just shows how important it is to surround yourself with people you can trust, especially when money is involved.
Especially large sums of money.
Yeah.
What I find remarkable is that he doesn't just crumble.
No.
He takes this pragmatic approach. He starts selling property, doing commercials. He even starts doing acting seminars as a new way to make money.
This is where you see the resilience. He could have just given up, but he doesn't. He adapts. Yeah. And not only does he adapt, but he finds a way to reconnect with his love of acting in a completely different way.
That's right. And these seminars weren't just about the money for him. He talks about sharing his love of literature and engaging directly with these audiences. Yeah. It was almost like, a rediscovery of what drew him to acting in the first place.
Right. It's amazing how sometimes these challenges, these setbacks, can bring you back to your core, to your roots.
Absolutely. It's almost like coming full circle. And speaking of staying true to his craft, this is where we get into a phase of his career that was, as he puts it, a mixed bag. His later film roles.
And he's really open about it. He talks
Yeah.
about how some of those roles were just out of necessity. Bills to pay, gotta rebuild.
Yeah, got to make a living.
Right.
And I mean, he even admits that he did the Adam Sandler comedy Jack and Jill just for the paycheck.
Just for the paycheck.
But even then, you still see his dedication to trying to make it work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that speaks to a certain pragmatism, right? Recognizing that, you can't always get those dream roles, especially as you get older.
Right. And especially in Hollywood. I mean, it's a tough industry.
It is.
Ageism is real.
It is. But he doesn't dwell on the negative. He also talks about collaborations that he really enjoyed, like Ocean's 13 and The Humbling.
Oh, yeah. The Humbling.
Yeah.
Based on the Philip Roth novel.
That's the one. And there's this hilarious story about his interaction with Philip Roth. So Pacino tells him, hey, I'm making a movie of The Humbling, and it's very funny. And Roth, in his classic, deadpan way, just goes, it's not funny.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. I can totally picture that.
Classic Philip Roth.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that even Al Pacino can misread a room.
Right. He's still human.
He's human.
Even though he's Al Pacino.
That's right. But he also talks about, going to great lengths to try to salvage some of those not so great films in post-production. I mean, even investing his own money to try to fix them.
He wanted to at least get them to a C-, as he put it.
Love that.
It's like he couldn't let them just be total flops.
He's got to try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really shows that commitment to his craft.
Right. And it makes you think about, that balance. Like, how do you stay true to your vision, to your art, when you're in an industry that's all about the bottom line?
It's tough. It's a tough balance. And amidst all this, working on these films, he rediscovers this love he'd never really abandoned, the stage.
The stage, his first love.
Yeah. He talks about it like this rekindled love affair, a yearning for that energy of live performance.
And an immediate connection with the audience.
That's right. But even in this familiar territory, there are challenges, new challenges.
He's older now, right? And he's got this reputation to uphold. And Broadway, I mean, that takes stamina.
Yeah, it's a grind.
It is. And he's honest about the ups and downs of these productions. He talks about The Merchant of Venice, Glengarry Glen Ross, China Doll, each one with its own set of, hurdles to overcome.
And then he drops this bombshell.
Yeah.
His secret weapon for remembering lines. Teleprompters.
Teleprompters.
I was floored. I mean, you wouldn't expect someone like Al Pacino to need that.
Right. It's not what you'd expect, but his reasoning is fascinating.
Laid it on me.
He argues that it actually frees him up to be more spontaneous on stage. He's not bogged down by memorization, so he can really react in the moment to his fellow actors, to the energy of the audience.
So he's basically saying, I'm Al Pacino, I can do whatever I want.
Pretty much. But what's interesting? It makes you rethink what it means to be a great actor. Maybe it's not just about technical skill. Maybe it's also about adaptability, about finding new ways to excel even when you're facing limitations.
Right. Finding ways to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
He even brings up Marlon Brando using cue cards on set.
Right.
Suggesting that even the legends have their tricks.
Right. Everyone needs a little help sometimes. And I think the point is that it's the end result that matters.
The impact you make on the audience.
Exactly. And his experience with China Doll is particularly interesting. I mean, the play got terrible reviews, but Pacino talks about how he felt like he was really hitting his stride during those performances, like he was finding this pure artistic flow.
So, despite the criticism, he was finding his own sense of fulfillment.
Exactly. It shows you that sometimes external validation and personal satisfaction don't always line up.
That's a good point.
And it's a good reminder that the real reward often comes from the process itself, from the joy of creating, regardless of the outcome. And he quotes Michelangelo saying, "Lord, free me of myself so I may please you."
Wow.
It speaks to that desire to transcend ego and connect with something larger than yourself.
That's deep.
And then he uses this beautiful image of being a butterfly, taking flight and reaching a state of artistic nirvana, that feeling of just pure creative bliss.
And then, to top it all off, he ends with this line, God said, rehearsal starts tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Like, the journey never really ends. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
I love that. And that's what makes Pacino's story so inspiring. It's not just about the fame and the success. It's about those struggles.
Yeah.
The financial stuff, the bad reviews. And through it all, he never loses that love for acting.
Right. He's always searching, always pushing himself.
Always evolving. So, I mean, what can we take away from all this? from Al Pacino's life, both on screen and off.
Well, I think, one of the biggest things is that life is unpredictable.
Yeah.
It throws you curveballs, like becoming a dad at 60.
Right. You think you've got it figured out.
Exactly. And then, boom, you have to adapt, find a new way forward. And then there's resilience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, facing financial ruin, that's got to be tough.
He could have easily just thrown in the towel, but he didn't. He found a way to bounce back.
Yeah. And he did it his way.
Exactly. And let's not forget, he's honest about it all, like brutally honest.
Oh, yeah. About his mistakes, his money troubles. He even admits to taking roles just for the paycheck.
And that makes him human.
Yeah.
It makes him relatable.
We all make mistakes. We all have those moments where we're like, ugh, why did I do that?
Exactly. And I think at the end of the day, Pacino's story is about passion.
That love for his craft. It shines through. Absolutely. It reminds us that when you find something you're truly passionate about, it can get you through anything.
It can sustain you. It can inspire you.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? This deep dive into Al Pacino's life. I feel like we've learned so much, not just about him, but about life in general.
These deep dives, they really make you think, don't they?
They do. So as we wrap things up, here's a final thought for you. What resonated with you most in Pacino's story? What lessons can you apply to your own life?
Remember, we're all on our own journeys. And like Pacino stepping onto that stage, we're always evolving, always growing. So embrace the unexpected, find your passion, and never stop exploring.